It's Monday, and you know what that means. Hello, I am Luke Michael Howard, clinical hypnotist and owner of Lucanosis Hypnosis, here tonight for a Facebook Live review entitled Since Lockdown There's Been a Rise in Addictions in clients that I've been seeing that are suffering from addiction related problems. So I'm going to get into why I believe that's true, and perhaps I can count on you to give me some feedback as to why you think it's true as well, why I'm seeing more and more clients for addiction since lockdown has happened. You will notice I'm wearing a cap tonight. It's not because I'm cool, although I am fucking cool. It's because my hair is a friggin' mess, and I haven't had my hair cut in, I don't know, 5 months. Been a long time, but I'm sure many of you can appreciate that. If you haven't had your hair cut in 5 months, put in the comments below. By the way, whenever I do this, I am pointing to the comments below. If you're here, if you've just joined us, as I see, Malik has, give me a thumbs up, give me a wave. Works best with audience participation. So if you want live responses to anything addiction or hypnosis related, put it in the comments below and I'm going to answer it live. If you are watching after the fact, hey Malik, nice to see you. Hey Deb, how are you? If you're watching after the fact, still put your comments right below and I will answer them in a timely fashion. Tonight's all about addictions. So here's why I think I am seeing clients for more addictions. Let me be specific with addictions. What do I mean? I'm seeing more and more clients that are coming to see me. It's been a year now since lockdown. More and more clients are seeing me through addictions, through being addicted to cocaine, being addicted to heroin, crystal meth, internet, social media, sex, porn, cigarettes, food, digital addictions, and many, many others. And the number one reason people used to see me was anxiety, and that's certainly increased over the last year, but addiction has just gone through the roof. In fact, it's the number one reason people come to see me now. That's why I'm focusing more and more of my change working with people with addictions. Hello Deb, good to see you. The Hypno Pixie is here as well, good to see you. So here's why I believe, and I'd be fascinated to know your take on it, why you think more and more people are coming to see me for addictions over the last year. Here's my take on it. I think over the last year, many countries, certainly North America, under lockdown, our freedom has been encroached upon. We're typically not leaving the country to go on vacations. Restaurants are closed, bars are closed, a lot of stores are closed. Then they open up for a wee bit of time, then they close back down again. It's like playing hokey pokey with our freedom. And I think oftentimes, and I'll put myself into this category, we do things in excess. So here's the thing. I know people, friends, colleagues that do drugs. And they're okay. And if there was a way of using them in a respectable or controlled manner, if there was a way, I'd potentially put those into that categories. I've had girlfriends and stuff that did different types of drugs in the past, but they had it under control. It's not my job to pass a judgment on this is wrong, you're a bad person because you are doing drugs. That ain't my job. That ain't my gig. My gig ain't here to judge people. In fact, I don't drink. I've been straight edge, which means no drinking, no drugging, no gambling, no hookers, my whole life. Yet I have alcohol in my apartment. Why, Luke? Why? Are you a secret alcoholic? No. Some of my friends drink, and I like it. I like them to feel comfortable when they come round. So I provide that if they should want it. But I don't. So I'm not here to place past judgment. I could give a shit if somebody does drugs. If they're happy about it and they ain't hurting me or other people, then it's your life. Live your life how you want. Not here to pass judgment on you. I only come in when a friend, more apropos, a client puts their hand up. They contact me for a screen. They're like, Luke, I'm doing too much coke, too much cigarettes, crystal meth, porn, sex, whatever, steroids, whatever. I'm doing too much of this. It's eating up too much of my time, my energy, my money. I'm suffering. I'm going to swear in a minute. So if you've got young children around, you may want to wish to say goodbye, or put them to bed for a few seconds or for the night. Or they may be, look, I need your fucking help right now. Fucking suffering. I'm suffering here and I need some help. I don't know how. I don't know how to get out of this hole, but I need some help. Please help me to help myself. That's when I come in. That's when I put on that cap to help, or that hat to help that particular type of person. But I've been seeing more and more of this over the last year since we've all been under lockdown. Here's my rationale behind it. And again, before I get into it, if you've just joined us, say hello in the comments below. Give me a wave, give me a thumbs up. Someone just gave me a thumbs up. Thank you, whoever that was. Dwayne has just joined us as well. I'd be interested to see what your take is, why you think more people are, their addictions have played up, have become stronger, and why people generally are doing more addiction in my experience over the last year. So I'd be interested in what your theory is. Put in the comments below. This is a discussion. It's good if I talk at you, because I love to listen to my own voice, in case you didn't already know. But it's even better when we play with one another and I riff off you and find out what your theories are, what questions you may have. But here's my theory. So over the last year, our freedom's been infringed upon. We're not out as much. We're not partied as much. We're not around so many people. Hey, Amanda. She wrote, hey, Luke, thanks for your videos. Hey, thank you. Appreciate you watching them, Amanda. So we have more time on our hands, right? We have more time on our hands. And sometimes when we have less structure, we have more time on our very hands, we get into trouble, don't we? That's why from a young age we have a structure called school. Typically from about 8 to 4 we'll be at school, and as we get older we have a thing called a job. Typically, I know everyone's a bit different, certainly I am. Typical schedule, what a work schedule, 9 to 5, right? We have structure. We have a lot of our time, about 8 hours is taken up with that structure. Young, school, a little bit older, work. About 8 hours typically is for sleep. So that accounts for about 16 hours. Then we have about 8 hours left where we get shit done. We read books, we work on passions, we train, we go to the museum, we eat, we do whatever we're gonna do, right? But now we've got so much more time on our hands. We're like, what am I gonna do? And then suddenly, all that stuff that we've been pushing down for years and years and years, those unresolved emotions, those limiting beliefs, those what ifs, those things that we've tried to put a lid on, trying to put the jack-in-box back inside the box that we've been doing for years and years and years, and we've had all the noise of all the distractions around us, going out, doing drugs, whatever it is. Now suddenly we have all that time on our hands and there's nothing so much to distract us. So we're here, and the demon is here, or the monster is here. And some of us will face it. Some of us will be brave and we'll face our demons and we'll face our monsters, and it will be scary. And we'll face them. And sometimes we're not ready to face them. So what do? We eat too much. We drug too much. We smoke too much. We do social media too much. We pleasure ourselves to internet porn too much. We have more worthless sex with multiple people. We distract ourselves. All the IVs, the intravenous of distraction, are in our arms, distracting ourselves because we don't want to face the monster. We don't want to face the demon. We don't want to resolve it. We don't feel we're ready. But now we've got an extra, I don't know, 8, 16 hours left every day. It's there. I've got to distract myself. Got to watch more TV. Got to watch more internet. Got to watch that video on YouTube. Got to check my social media for the 47th time in the last 17 minutes. Got to eat some more. Who here has gained weight in the last year since we've been on lockdown? Put below if you've gained weight. Be brave. Put your hand up. I've seen a lot of people that as well. But my theory is the reason I'm seeing more and more people for addiction is they've got too much time on their hands, lack of structure, and they don't want to face certain things. So they have to anesthetize themselves from it. They have to give themselves somewhat of a distraction, is the word I'm looking for. Distract themselves from dealing with the monster, from dealing with the demon, because they don't feel ready. Is where I come in. People give me a call. I'm sick and tired of trying to distract myself from the monster, because I can only distract myself so much from the demons, to eventually I wake up in the middle of the night, demons there. Taking a shit, demons there. I'm reading to myself, suddenly the sound of the demon is there. The Hypno-Pixie says addiction is a lack of social connection. Interesting, Deb says, unfortunately. So Hypno-Pixie brings up something very interesting. When the leading experts in addiction have studied it over the last 40 and 50 years, there's a chap, and I'm going to give the disclaimer, I'm going to butcher his name right now, so excuse me, but if you put something into Google that sounds or reads a bit like this, it will come up, I'm sure. The fellow's name is Gabor, G-A-B-O-R, Gabor Motor, I think, Gabor. But if you put Gabor, G-A-B-O-R, addiction, you're going to get a shitload of his stuff come up. He's regarded in the psychological community as being the #1 guy when it comes to researching addiction and why it comes. And through years and years and years of studying people and addiction, he's noticed one thing that every addict he's ever treated have in common. It's a lack of meaningful social connection. That could be a relationship with themselves, not knowing themselves. Relationship to the higher power, if they believe in such a thing. There's a big one, intimate connections with partners, wives, husbands, boyfriends, girlfriend, love. Could be with their parents, meaningful friendships, but a lack of meaningful relationship. Not just connections, but meaningful relationships. I've quoted this before, but you can research this online if you choose to. When they did a study of American soldiers that came back from the Vietnam War, I guess that was the late 60s, early to mid 70s, I believe. Not exactly sure on the timeline, but round about when the American soldiers came back to America after the Vietnam War, there was a high percentage of American soldiers that were addicted to heroin. Supposedly, the story goes that the American government had introduced heroin to the soldiers, some kind of pharmaceutical company back then. Not quite sure how it happened, but American soldiers hadn't really, the Western world hadn't really heard of a thing called heroin until after the Vietnam War. So all these soldiers come back, they've seen such atrocities, they've been part of war zones, seen their best friend explode beside them, that stress, that post-traumatic stress disorder having to deal with. They finally come out of that war zone where they're under attack a lot of the time, physically, but also mentally and emotionally, spiritually, if you believe it also. A lot of these soldiers came back a high percentage addicted to heroin. Now, in the late 60s, early 70s, there wasn't a bunch of rehab centres around, certainly not as much as today. And they certainly didn't know how to deal with heroin because no one really knew in the Western world what heroin was. And if you've ever heard anything from any addictions, and not all addictions are created the same, is of all the drugs that you don't want to get addicted to, heroin would probably be #1 because there's some nasty side effects of it, and some nasty, when you're trying to come off of it, detox from it, some nasty effects it has on your system. So if there's one you definitely, under no circumstances, would choose, consciously or unconsciously, to become addicted to, it would indeed be heroin. Yet a high percentage of American soldiers came back to America having been introduced, addicted to heroin, right? Didn't go to rehab because there was no rehab centre specialised in heroin because America didn't know what heroin was. There was no Subutein or other drug to wean them off of heroin because, again, Americans, we didn't know what heroin was really at that point. So what happened is they essentially went cold turkey. Didn't really know what cold turkey was, but they stopped doing it because there wasn't a surplus of heroin available in America directly after the Vietnam War. And then within a week or two, they were okay. Yes, their body adjusted. Their head didn't fall off. They didn't die. They had a tough week where they had the sweats, they had the shivers, they had some hallucinations, digestive problems, which, you know, without going too much into that, I'm sure you can imagine what I mean by that. Vomiting, very unpleasant things. But within a week or so, of no heroin, their body had adjusted and they didn't use heroin again. Now people said, well, the reason they'd never used heroin again is because heroin wasn't available. It started to become more and more available then. But what Gerbo, Mator, again, I'm sure I'm butchering that name. I'm sorry, Gerbo, if you're out there listening to this. And why wouldn't you be? But you can check his stuff out online. What he realised is these soldiers were in the middle of their middle of trauma in the war, right? Vietnam War. They come back to America. They're put into an environment where there isn't a war going on around them anymore. They're safe. They're amongst friends, lovers, husbands, wives, boyfriends, girlfriends, family. People love them. People care about them. And just by going from that war environment into a loving environment to Vietnam, to an America where they're safe, at least physically for the most part, you know, comparing that to where they were in the middle of a war, like a huge percentage of them, their body readjusted, their mind just readjusted. They didn't have withdrawals, or certainly not to what we've been led to believe from heroin addicts. They never went to rehab because it didn't exist, and they got on with their life. Can you imagine now coming out on the news or a newspaper and say, all right, Mr. Heroin Addict, you don't need to go to rehab. You don't necessarily need other drugs, which are equally as dangerous to come off. Just go cold turkey. It's all right. Can you imagine saying that? Oof, you get a lot of controversy. I am saying that. Yeah, and of course, all this comes with the disclaimer of you must check with your doctor if you're choosing to come off of a drug. Absolutely. I'll say it again in case you didn't hear me. Check with a medical physician. This is very important. And I imagine my audience is intelligent enough to do that. That goes without saying, although I said it twice if you're counting. But yes, people have, thousands, hundreds of thousands of people have come off of heroin, the drug we're told never to become addicted to, and their body is readjusted and they've never relapsed or gone back to use it. So Gerbo, what he said was, when people are put into an environment taken from war, a very trauma-induced environment, to an environment where they feel safe, at least physically, ideally emotionally as well, around people they love and care about, have their best interest, then oftentimes addictions, not just heroin, it just self-regulates. And whatever the addictive thing that they were doing was a barrier preventing them from deeply connecting to people. Again, whether that be another human being, all right? Whether that be the higher power, whether you believe in that kind of stuff or not, I'm not here to judge, or with yourself, connecting with yourself. So I think this is an amazing time now. I think it's an amazing time now where the demons have come out of the boxes, right? Some of the dead bodies have become reanimated outside of the caskets, and they're there and they're saying, they're not saying I want to eat your brains like a zombie, if you watch The Walking Dead, or a George A. Romero movie. They're saying, hey, can you work on me now? I've been here a long time. I've been stagnant for a while, but I'm really scared. I want you to acknowledge me, and I want you to let me go so I can heal myself. That's what it's saying. So those monsters, those demons were scared of it, just essentially saying, hey, you've got a bit of extra time on your hands now. Do you think maybe you can listen to me? Do you think maybe you can heal me? Because really it comes from your unconscious mind, subconscious mind, monkey mind, primal mind. It's all the same thing. It's the part of your mind that's responsible for your breathing, for your blood flow, for all your thoughts, for all your feelings, for all your behaviours, for all your programs. It has the emotional intellect of perhaps a 4-year-old, maybe 5. And it's saying, hey, got this thing I'm a bit scared of. Do you think maybe you can read me a bedtime story and ease that suffering, ease that scariness, ease that pain? So when this comes up for you, rather than use your drug of choice, and remember, I'm not here to judge you, all right? I'm not perfect, by no means of the exaggeration. However, when it makes you suffer and it's stopping you from having the freedom, at least I understand some of our freedoms now have been encroached upon and there's not a lot we can do about it. Yeah, we can do protests like they do in Toronto every Saturday, but it just really creates a bit of a racket. But we're always free. We can always choose to be free here or free in our feelings. There's a famous boxer, I forget his last name, but he was known as the Hurricane. Actual Denzel Washington made a movie about the Hurricane. They put him in prison. If you watch the movie, I think they'd set him up somehow for a death I think they're trying to say he killed somebody in the movie. If memory serves me right. Anyways, he was set up. He was completely innocent, or whatever the charge was. He's in prison 20 or 30 years. Again, there's a Denzel Washington movie about it called The Hurricane. I haven't watched it for a while, so I might be getting some of these facts mixed up. But again, boxer, put in prison many years for a crime he didn't commit. You know what he said? The one thing they can't in prison is this. So even if you are under lockdown, even if you are in prison, even if your physical reality, you don't feel you're free, you're always in control of your thoughts. You're always in control of what you feel. Not in control of what the thought comes in immediately or the emotion that hits you. Not in conscious control of that, but what you do with the thought, what you do with the feeling, how you proceed, you are. Yes, you are 100% responsible for that. You're not necessarily 100% responsible for the trauma you may be going through. And everyone's going through some trauma, big or small. Again, I'm not here to judge. It's a big thing for you, isn't it? However, you're not necessarily responsible for creating that trauma. You are 100, and I'll say it again, you are 100% responsible for healing it though. Yes, you. Not the person who created it. I don't give a fuck. You. And it ain't fair. It ain't fair. Guess what? Life ain't fair, unfortunately, so let go of that belief. But you are 100% responsible in healing yourself. So whatever your addiction is, you're not necessarily responsible for getting addicted to it, although I'd question that unless you're a crack baby, all right, and you had no choice, or someone was injecting you and you were tied up, like a horror movie like Saw, and you didn't have a choice. However, that's another discussion for another day. Regardless of that, you are 100% responsible for your recovery. You are 100% responsible for healing you. So what's my job then? Look, if I'm 100% responsible for healing myself and getting over my addiction, why is there rehabs? Why do you exist? Good question. It is a good question, isn't it? Really, my job is a bit like Google Maps, right? You pretty much, if you took enough time, effort and energy, you could pretty much go anywhere you want and find a way to get there if you use the old paper maps, right? It would be long, it would be arduous, it would be frustrating, it would be annoying. But if you took enough time, you'd find a way to chart to get to somewhere. You could absolutely do that. And if you do, good job. Well done. You don't need me. But I'm a bit like the Google Maps for when you're lazy, and we're all lazy on some level. I'm the Google Maps where you put in, you know where you are right now. Is I'm addicted to X, Y, and Z. This is where I am. You've got to be honest. This is where I am today. No judgment, but this is where I am today. I'm addicted to X, Y, or Z. Right here. Not the alphabet, right? But whatever your substance is, I'm addicted. Get it in the moment, be honest. Or at least I feel that I'm addicted to this behaviour right now. Doesn't just have to be an illicit substance you put in. Could be thoughts, could be memories, could be toxic relationships, right? They're all addictions. Okay, this is where I am today. Don't victimise it. Don't make it bigger than it needs to be. But this is where I am today. I am currently seemingly at the mercy of my addiction, whatever that may be. That's where you are today. That's like putting in Google Maps your destination, where you are right now. Where do you want to be? Well, I just don't want to do the drug anymore. No, that don't work. Because if I say to you, don't think of a purple dinosaur with red dots, what do you have to do to comprehend that sentence? You have to think of that dinosaur with the dots in order to not think of it. It's a weird thing. So what do you want? Well, I want to be drug-free, happy, healthy, free, living my life in a healthy manner. That might be typically what a client says to me. That's putting in your final destination, where you're driving to, flying to, walking to. So now we know where you are. You're addicted. You're at the mercy of this substance, illicit or something internal. Right? This is where you are. Start destination. Where do you want to end up? Well, I want to be free, living a happy, healthy life with sobriety, whatever your wording may be in the positive. I just take all the time and effort out of it. So yeah, you could read the maps and the A to Z's all you want, right? As I mime it here, you can imagine I've got a big A to Z, big map here. You could absolutely do that. It takes a lot of time. It takes some specific map reading skills. It can be quite frustrating, to be honest. Remember when you were in a car and you were driving places and you had that A to Z and you're trying to find out how to get somewhere? You can do it. I implore you if you do. It can be a bit tiresome, to be honest. Or you just put in Google Maps on your phone or your GPS and it says turn right, turn left, your destination is 500 miles away, or whatever voice you program into it. Might suggest it be the voice of a British man. Just kidding, not really. And you get there a lot quicker, a lot easier, and you have that voice guiding you. I'm a bit like the good voice guiding you. I'm going to help you to do the work, and yes, you have to do some work between your ears, well, it should be here, between your ears, in order to get to your destination of being clean and clear a lot quicker. Now, that means you don't have to go to rehab, and you don't have to follow any 12-step programs. That's my guarantee when I work with people over addictions. Again, you've been checked out by your doctor, as I said earlier 2 times, I'm now saying it 3 times. Always check with your doctor first, right? This is of utmost importance. But all that being said and done, I specialise in helping people overcome addictions without expensive rehabs. Do you know the average rehab is about $70,000 in North America right now? $70,000. And the average person will do about 3 rehabs. And rehabs have a failure rate of about 93% when I last checked it. It means 93% of the time when someone drops $70,000 on rehab for a week or 2, they've still got their issues with drugs when they come out of rehab. They're a bit lighter though. They're a bit lighter in the pocket of about $70,000. So statistically, it's about 93% of rehab is unsuccessful. There's a failure rate. People continue to use drugs as much as, if not more, after. And also 12-step programs. Some people are going to get angry with me. I get it. Some people are going to get angry. They're going to leave some angry comments underneath. They leave some angry comments underneath. I fully expect it, right? Understand this. Some things work for people some of the times. My broken clock in my kitchen is right twice a day. It's been dead. I was supposed to have changed the battery 6 months ago. I always forget. But twice a day, even though it's broke, even though it doesn't work, my clock is correct. 12 steps programs, AA, NA, they are successful for some people. And if you're watching this and they've been successful for you, fucking awesome. And I'm not saying that sarcastically whatsoever. If they have helped you to overcome your issue and you no longer use your issue and it's no longer tormenting you and you're no longer suffering, fucking awesome. I'm happy for you. I'm happy for you. I question why you'd be watching this video though, but I am happy for you, right? If you've been successful with that. Unfortunately, most of the people that come to see me have already tried that. Already tried 12-step programs, years of it, thousands, some of them hundreds of thousands of dollars, and they're still addicted. Right? In their own words, or AA's words, or NA's words, they are still addicted. They still have this belief that they're addicted. I believe Anthony Hopkins often uses this one. He hasn't drank a drop of liquor in 40 years, maybe longer. It's probably half of his life. I'm guessing he's in his 80s now, early 80s. So about half of his life he hasn't drunk, right? But with the belief with AA is once an addict, always an addict. Once an alcoholic, always an alcoholic. And I call bullshit on that. And I call bullshit on that because I think it keeps people locked. I think although they haven't done the behaviour, I think it keeps them locked down into addictive behaviour. To think, even though I haven't used my drug of choice for 40 years, half of my life, oh, tomorrow could be the day where the house of cards just comes falling over. A gust of wind happens, and that house of cards falls over. Oh, I've got to be watching for the jackal, for the monster, for the demon, because he's always there. Fuck that. I've known people that were addicted, the worst kind of addicts that you could ever possibly imagine, and then they were clean. And they've been clean ever since. Doesn't take 12 steps. Doesn't take years and years. Takes a decision. Takes a decision that I'm done with this shit. Ready to be clean. Ready to embrace the rest of my life. Ready to heal up whatever that drug was anesthetizing me from. Whatever that drug was numbing me from feeling. I'm going to make a commitment to myself to heal that up. To do the work. Inside. It's always inside, by the way. You know, one of the 12 steps, one of the later steps, might be 10, not sure. Don't be angry with me if I'm wrong with the step, but it's to make amends with people you feel that you wronged. There's nothing wrong with that. I think it's an admirable thing to do. But understand that the process of doing that, it ain't about making that person happy or forgiveness. It's just really a metaphor. It's about forgiving that part of you that wronged someone else or wronged you. And that person, whether it be you or somebody else that you feel that you wronged, that you need to make amends with, whether they're alive or dead, you can still do it. Because it isn't that person that you have the issue with, or that person that you need to get forgiveness from. It's that part of that person that you carry inside. And whether they're alive or dead in the physical world, you still carry a part of that person inside. So you can always forgive that part for doing whatever you felt that it did. And you can always have forgiveness. How do you have forgiveness? You give yourself forgiveness first. You give yourself forgiveness first, and then you can start giving it to other people if you feel the need. So I kind of went off in a lot of different areas there tonight, but the main topic, by the way, if you've got any questions, feel free to put comments underneath while we're live. And if you're watching this on a replay, feel free to do it. If you've got any friends that are addicted to anything, and listen, no one's perfect. Everyone's got addictions, including me, but just all addictions aren't created different. There's a big difference between being addicted to The Walking Dead and zombie films and being addicted to crystal meth. One's going to take up a lot of my Sunday nights, and one of them's going to probably fucking kill me, kill my family, or me for my family, and destroy my health rather rapidly. So not all addictions are created the same, although nobody's perfect, and we've all got stuff that we can make better. But the moral of today, the title was, why do I believe that I'm seeing more and more people for addiction? They've got more time on their hands. The demon, the monster, whatever you want to call it, the little child is saying, hey, you have never noticed me. You've got this free time that you're not taking up. Notice me. Heal me up right now. And then we do our drug of choice, whatever that may be, because we're not ready. We don't feel equipped. We don't know how sometimes in order to heal that thing up. So we do our drug of choice, or maybe the addiction is our thought patterns, the old programs that we've been running, addictive thinking, anxiety, depression. They're just programs we run on the inside to distract ourselves from whatever that thing is that needs to be healed. All it needs to be is healed and faced. And I understand that saying that, it makes it sound a lot easier than it can be. It's not easy to do that stuff, but it is quick. Quicker than you ever imagined. Not easy, but it's quick. That quick. If you're interested in finding out how quick, how truly quick it can be, then underneath this video there's going to be a thing called a screening with me. You click on the link and we can have a chat with the telephone so I can find out a little bit more about you, your addiction, and if you're ready, potentially give you some ways out of it if we do indeed work together. But there'll be a link underneath this video that says book your screening call. Click on it. Go to my online booking form, choose your time, choose your day. Quick questionnaire for you to fill out, take you about a minute so I can be prepared for the call to make sure it's bespoke to you, specific to you, because you are important to me and you're different. You're different from everyone else. I appreciate that. But in our differences, sometimes we're very, very similar as well. But once you do that, take you a couple of minutes, then we'll be booked on the call, we'll have a chat, and we can see if we can put together a program for you that doesn't involve costly rehabs and forever steps that take forever to complete these 12 steps program. Stuff that you can start to see a change today. Things that you can do in your mind and body to forgive yourself, to give yourself space between you and your addiction, so you can just breathe for a minute, all right, and maneuver throughout the world. Without being at its beck and call. But if you're interested, click on the link below that's going to be here. Follow the steps. There's even a 2-minute video that explains how to do it, but it's all really simple. Click on the diary, click on the link, click on the time you're available, fill out the questionnaire, and then we're booked. Then we'll have a chat on the phone, and I can help you to help yourself. Because make no mistake about it, you're doing the work. But like I said, I'm just a GPS. It's going to make it a lot quicker for you to do that, for you to get distance between you and your addiction, to choose freedom, to choose a way forward. So that's it for tonight. So I guess all that's left for me to say, before I do that, I have a question. Malik says, what do you tell our brain? Well, it depends, Malik. It depends what I tell your brain for what your addiction is. First of all, I need to know where you're at, and it's specific to the person, because where the heroin addict is at is very different from the person who's addicted to watching TV or addicted to food, right? So I need to know where you're at, my client's at, I should say. And I need to know what your destination is. Where do you want to be? For some people, it's like, Luke, I want to just drink orange juice instead of, I know it sounds stupid, instead of doing heroin. I did have that once though. Luke, I want to feel a sense of belonging in the world, connecting with my family, my friends. Whatever it is that you say that you want that's framed in the positive, that is what we say in NLP, ecological, which means it's balanced for your mind, your body, your soul, if such a thing exists. Putting you in the right direction. So it's different for different people. It's hard to answer it specifically for you, but depending on where the person, the client is right now and where they want to be, will be the difference in the language and the suggestions, I should say, that I put in their mind to get them there. It's bespoke, specific to you. Everyone is a bit different. If you've got any more questions, you've got about 1 minute to put your questions underneath before I sign off. This is your 1 minute countdown. Should put the clock up here, 59, 58, 57, 56. And if you put some questions up there now, I will answer. If not, if you're watching this on a replay, whether it be on Facebook, whether it be YouTube, whether it be part of the podcast, you can always put questions and I will endeavour to answer them. No more questions. That's good. So it's late here now. What is it? It's 9:38 p.m. I have to get ready for my run. I haven't exercised today, so I'm going to be a fat bastard unless I exercise. So no problem, Malik. I appreciate the question. So I'm going to get ready for my run and exercise and read and study and all that good stuff. Anyways, thank you for joining me here tonight. Pass it on to a friend who may need some help. All that being said, always believe.